Welcome to episode 58 of PuckPod by BD Sports. I'm Brian. I'm here with Christian and Dave. Just
Oh,
kidding. Christian's not here. This is the first time he's missed an episode.
the Iron
Dave,
Man streak is over.
I don't even blame him. He's on vacation right now. He's in the Bahamas.
Good
Hopefully
for him.
he listens to this and hopefully he understands that we get it. We get it that he's, not going to be here for this episode. But Dave, how was your week?
Pretty good, man. Had a fantastically relaxing Christmas. Um, had a good time. Did I worked after that, worked before that, but those Christmas times, the Christmas time especially, like I just enjoy taking all those like moments in. Basically, I'll just relaxing and eating, chilling. Love it. What about you?
Yeah, I had a pretty good Christmas. Flew in from Thunder Bay. Well, last episode I was also back home, but specifically like this past week with Christmas, it was nice to see family, friends. I saw you, went to sushi with you. I
Hmm.
also saw Christian too. Like a bunch of high school buddies just got together there and just met up, and that's basically it. I know Christian definitely is having more fun than both of us this week. Being in the Bahamas. You should have seen the snaps that he was sending me last night. You should see the story. Anyway,
Oh man, I could imagine. Like, what a
anyway.
view.
Okay. This episode is going to be based on awards, but the criteria is there's no criteria. We're just going to give a theme for 2023, and you and I are just going to give out our opinion and our thoughts. All right. So for
Sounds good.
2023, what was the best storyline?
So for me, the best storyline for the whole year, I would say the storyline kind of started from the beginning of like from the end of 2022 into 23, and that was the emergence of one Connor Bedard. I dubbed him the next one. So like Gretzky's the great one. Then I think they called either Crosby or McDavid like the next one. So I'm calling Bedard the next one. The guy has been like as good as advertised. Like he has been electric all year. He's worth the price of admission if you're gonna go to a Chicago Blackhawks games. And don't worry, because you're not gonna see the Blackhawks win. So the Hawks fans, I feel for you, but this kid's gonna be like he already is ridiculous. He's done some unbelievable things over like the past 4 months that he's been in the league. And even before that, like taking it back to the 2023 World Juniors, like that was probably the first time all of the hockey watching world really got to see his talents on full display. So it's been a crazy 2023 for him, and he's somebody that everybody's probably going to be watching going forward.
Dave, great minds think alike. You beat me to it.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
No
Okay.
way.
I do have a little quote. We're not talking about me, specific in this situation. We just won the biggest tournament in the world. And man, I love this group. I love this country, and this city right here has been unbelievable. I don't know if you remember that quote.
Yeah.
I think we all know this quote. After the World Juniors, Dart goes on the camera, cuts off the reporter, and says that quote. I agree. This is the biggest storyline of 2023. It's the biggest storyline that's not even in the NHL. It's currently sitting at 32 points in 35 games, which is pretty amazing given that he has no tools to play with on that Blackhawks
It's
team.
literally an AHL team he's working with. This guy's making miracles happen right now.
it's I agree. This is the first time ever that the biggest storyline was not in the NHL, and from day one, which is literally the end of the World Juniors of 2023, all the way until like
Like
the
right now.
lottery in the summer, him missing him not wanting to get traded from Regina to another team to get into the playoffs, even though he still got in single-handedly carried that team. I don't know if you remember, but like
Yeah.
I think he had like 7 points in one game or something.
Dude, that team was brutal. I'm pretty sure he had like 20 points in that series and they still lost like in like 5 or 6. Like a crazy, so crazy like how good he is. Oh man, like the
I
guy's
feel like there's gonna
ridiculous.
I feel like we're gonna be talking about Bedard a lot just because this was his year, quote unquote.
Mhm.
But we'll see. Also, I think this is the first time every single team watched the lottery.
Yeah. Oh, 100% you had at least what was it like? You had for sure 7 teams who literally had a hat in the ring. Like the last time I could remember that many teams having something like that was probably for McDavid, and I think even at that point the the field was kind of like drawn down to like maybe 3 or 4 who were like awful, but there was legitimately like 7 awful teams last year just trying to get Connor Bedard, right? Because you could, as you could see, like look how clear, like look how McDavid changed the culture in Edmonton after how many years of them picking first overall and literally getting like no success out of it.
It was
And then
instantaneous.
it was like within what, a year and a half, I think that they made, like within the next 2 years they made the playoffs again. And then within a couple years after that, they made a deep run to the conference finals. Like, okay, maybe right now the Hawks aren't even at what the Oilers were back then, but I would say in a few years, man, you give Bedard a couple more years in this league, probably give him a couple of pieces around him. I think like Kevin Korchinski's pretty good. Maybe another like solid young winger on his side. Holy hell, like the sky's the limit for him. I have a question for you.
Yep.
Okay, so we saw McDavid, like we've seen McDavid grow up, basically, right? Like we've seen his emergence in the league. Did you ever think we would see somebody at that type of hype and also live up to expectations again? Or within the next, like, within 2015 to like, let's say 30 years?
No, but to answer the question in short, if McDavid was a 10, I thought that the next closest thing in the next decade would be Jack Hughes,
Hmm.
and Bedard has already surpassed Jack Hughes in terms of like the ceiling potential, I think.
Yeah, I think
I
so
think
too.
that yeah, which is
And that's not
ridiculous
even
to
that's
say.
not even like a slight on Jack, because Jack Hughes is
No,
fantastic. Like, and me and you had this debate when Jack Hughes like after his first like slump of a season, right? And we're like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. You're like, okay, give him time. And you know what? I've grown. I've done a 180 on Jack Hughes. He's a fantastic player, but I still don't think like there's not many players in the NHL, maybe only a select handful that have the skill that can compare to Connor Bedard
McDavid.
at
It's like
19, or like, yeah, McDavid, but I'm saying like Connor Bedard right now at 19 years old. Like that's
it's
how good he is.
it's one,
Yeah.
legitimately one,
It's probably just one.
which is unbelievable to think about. Oh my goodness. What a player and what a year for this guy. I think Christian would have the same
I think he might
20.
too. I'll
You
be
know what? Let's
honest
do
with you.
that. Let's try to predict Christian's what he would say, and I think that that's what he would have.
I think so too. I like that.
Okay,
I
let's
can't
go.
think of anything else. I think the only other thing maybe he would come up with is like the Knights winning the cup, because like that's a pretty big storyline. Like now they're defending champs. They actually they finally got their monkey off their back. You know what I mean?
Right.
The sky's the limit kind of for them as well. Like, dude, if you don't have them maybe making another deep run this year, maybe potentially turning into the next NHL dynasty. I don't know. I could see it happening.
He would. Yeah, that's another good storyline that was this year in regards to like 2023 as a whole. The Golden Knights actually won, and the owner, I don't know if you remember, called it. What did he say?
Yeah.
6 years, 6 years will be champions.
Well, I think first he was like playoffs after playoffs in 3, and he was wrong with that because they literally came in the league and made the
First year.
playoffs, made it to the finals against your team, Brad, if you remember.
Yeah,
Uh like crazy, 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 crazy.
good for them. And okay, you know what? If Bedard was a 10 out of 10 storyline, the Golden Knights have to be like a 9.
Yeah,
But
100%.
we'll just jump into our next topic quickly. Best collaboration. Dave, what do you have?
What did I have? don't think I had anything. Best collaboration. What I don't even know what that entailed, like collaboration. Honestly, dude, anytime I don't know if this started this past year. It's probably been a couple years in the making. The only one that really comes to my mind is every time like Justin Bieber comes to town for Toronto and he like his I think his black like the reversible jerseys. I don't think they came out in 2023, right? It was I think a couple years ago. But
I don't.
regardless,
You have one, right?
I do have one. I forget when I bought it. I want to say it was last year, but I could be wrong.
No, it's gotta be before that. Cause I went
Might
to
be
dinner
before
with
that.
you. I went to dinner with you once, and you were wearing it. Uh, I'm
Reg
gonna say,
Dude, regardless, for me,
yeah.
anytime, like, not that I'm not gonna sit here and preach that I'm the biggest Justin Bieber fan, but for a star of his size to always kind of like come back and show love to the Leafs, it's always something that like sticks with me. Dude, that guy comes to, he's at least like 5 to 6 games a year, and it's not even like he was just recently at the they did their next gen game. So when they wear the black, like the reversible jerseys, he was there. That was on Wednesday. That's I think his first game he's been in the like he was in the stadium for. I know he watches at home because like I have him on like Instagram and stuff, and I'll see his stories and he'll just like post like score updates during the game like a fan. Like the guy's at the end of the day, he's a fan. I have to respect him whether or not you like his music, you like his personality, it doesn't matter. The guy is a fan, clearly, at the end of the day. You have to I just respect him so much for it. And you know what? I've grown to like his music over the years too, so I'll give him points for that as well. So that's my collab of the year. Justin Bieber anytime he's in Toronto.
I went musical too. Uh, but before I give out, um, like what I think collaboration of the year would be, did you know that there was an NHL Bape collaboration like 2 weeks
There
ago?
was.
Yeah,
I know that I know the NHL. So the NHL loves
they're
being late
trying out
on.
stuff.
They love being late on trends because I think a couple. I don't know if we discussed this on the pod, but the NHL made NFTs, and then like I think yesterday or 2 days ago, it came out. I forget what source, but it came out that the NFTs were basically like worthless now. So it's like what two?
Oh,
It's like it was literally like a month and a half after the NHL announced their NFT collection, they're basically worthless. So,
little pump
L.
dump. Anyway, okay. I have Tate McRae.
Nice. You know what, dude? That's a good show. I completely forgot. That's very recent. I like that. I like that.
Okay. Um, Calgary-born girl, known NHL fan. I
Hmm.
don't know if you knew this, but every single concert she wears, so let's say she's performing in Seattle, she'll wear a Kraken shirt or a Kraken jersey. Let's pretend she's performing in Houston or Dallas, she'll wear a Stars jersey, or you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Someone who actually watches hockey, likes the league, and had a number one trending song, not named Justin Bieber, willing to brand herself with the league. Pretty, pretty good. Slam dunk hit
Dude,
from her.
here's the thing. Like, dude, I'm not to say that Justin Bieber's old news, but like, especially to get somebody like, okay, Bieb's been around for since we were like 10, right?
Right.
But for Tate McRae to like literally 2023, she came out of nowhere. She's had like big songs over the past year.
That
Um
greedy song all over TikTok.
that song, there's another one as well. It's like X's. Oh, X's, I think it's called. She's got
Yeah, probably.
three of them that are just like chart topping hits. And for her to like I think she was at the Flames game the other week too. Like, good for her, man. That's a very good show. I completely forgot that she was doing that type of stuff. Okay, and I have a quick question for you, Brian.
Yep.
Do you know the story behind her album?
No, but she's in hockey equipment.
Yeah, so she's in hockey equipment because her ex
It's
is
Cole
an NH.
Sillinger.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's funny.
is yeah. So all those songs basically are about supposedly they're all about
Oh,
Cole Sillinger. So imagine,
yikes.
okay, the Leafs played the Blue Jackets last week. They played them 3 times over the past week. I remember in particular there was a play. He was on the ice and they got scored on, and it was in Toronto, I'm pretty sure.
And they
They
played one of
got
their
scored on,
songs.
and then they played one of her songs. I'm like, dude, whoever is in charge of the music here is being very, very, very coy about it because they
So
know
good.
what they're doing.
That's
But
so
yeah,
good.
shout out to Tay McRae, man. She had, I would say she's probably had the best 2023 out of any like music artist, I think.
Yes. You know what? I'll give you that one. It's she's up there for sure.
She's definitely up there.
Actually, I take that back. Taylor Swift had the best
Oh
2023
well,
video music
I
ever.
mean,
Yeah.
she's had the best year for the past like 15 years. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. And one more thing before we move off collaborations. This collaboration thing, I think this is the future. I think that this is where the NHL needs to go for success. Fingers crossed that, you know, they can pull it off again and hit another home run with someone else or with Tabor Cray once again. Okay. 2023, what was the best duo?
Uh, okay, so I went pure skill, just pure like what do I want to turn on the TV and watch? And obviously, I went for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Those two,
Fair.
anytime, anytime you turned on the TV and they were on, you had to sit and watch. Like okay, so this season, the 2023-24 season, the Edmonton Oilers kind of started off slow. They weren't as good, but dude, last year, the 2022-23 season, McDavid 65 goals, both of them well over 100 points. I think McDavid finished with like what, 130 something last year. Like legitimately ridiculous numbers. There's no way if you're going to talk about pure skill you can't talk about those two duo like that duo and not be, like as not being like the best like any year regardless those two are just fantastic to watch and they probably outperformed themselves last season and they got another half of this 2024 season to go to maybe up those numbers from last year.
Okay. I cheated a little bit because I have two answers.
Okay, go.
And one of them isn't really a duo, it's a trio. I'm taking
Okay,
the Hughes
I
in
like that.
2023.
That's good.
So you have the rookie in Luke, you have the forward in Jack, you have the defenseman in Quinn, all of which have led their respective category forward, defenseman. Well, both of them have, for those two specifically, they've also led league.
Hmm.
And Luke has led rookies in points every
For
single
like
time
a second, I think,
for a
because I think
second.
Bedard hasn't. But rookie
Yeah, but
defenseman, I think he has that lead by like a long shot.
well, with Quinton Hughes since the start of this year, well, the start of this season, 20 September till now, or October till now, has been lighting it up. Same with Jack. Unfortunately, Jack got hurt. Do you not feel like you see like a old picture of the brothers together, like
All playing on one team.
not playing on one team, but like just in general, you always see a picture of the three of them together with William Nylander during his saga. I don't know if you remember that, or like with somebody else, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
like they're
remember the one with Nylander because I think they took Willie in when like the
something like
family
that.
took Willie in when he was just drafted here.
But as a trio, you see them like it's kind of cool that you can see the timeline of when they're younger and through now, and this year's really flourishing, especially with the emergence of Luke playing in New Jersey this
Yeah.
season as well.
Hmm.
That's one of my answers. Uh, the other duo I had was another pair of brothers, the Kachucks.
Yeah, that's a very good shout as well.
You always see
Big
the
fan of
high,
both.
even this past playoffs. You saw the highs of Matthew. You saw the absence of Brady. Not to throw a shot at Senators fans, but you saw the you saw like no matter what when you watch an NHL game, like these are two guys that you must watch, and um, whether that be playing against each other in the Kachuk Bowl. I don't know if you remember
I do.
earlier this year, earlier this
Hmm.
season, They had a little
Dude,
scrum.
that game was wild after like the second period. There was just like there was no rules.
Yeah, and they even had like their little conflict with between each other, which is like fantastic and all over social media, all over
Good
everything.
sibling rivalry, man. They even make commercials out of their sibling rivalry.
Oh,
Like
you beat me to it.
that's how crazy like they're you know what I have to say? They are two very entertaining guys. Like they're not I know we have there's like a predisposition for every NHL player for them to just be like boring monotone robots, but like those two finally and also with the Hughes brothers as well as a few other players like around like spread out throughout the league are giving the NHL a bit more color, a bit more of a voice than they had maybe in years past. So that's another I give those 2 points and credits anytime like I see them on my TV.
What's that commercial? Is it Hyundai? The one
Is
where
it
they're fighting?
Hyundai? I want to it's a I want to say a car commercial, but it could
No,
also be
100% it's a car
Enterprise.
commercial. Right, right.
It could be Enterprise. I have no idea.
You know what? I think it's I think it's Hyundai, but it's because they're advertising like the space in the back,
Yes, you know what? I think it
and
is
then
Hyundai.
what? They kick one of them to the back. No, that's an excellent commercial.
Yeah,
That's funny.
no, it's a good one.
uh, and that's those are my two for the duo of the year. Christian, I think he would pick.
What do you
I
think
th-
you would pick?
I think Christian would have picked. I think he would have picked Nylander in the contract saga
Yeah,
because
that's a good
they were
show.
intertwined all year.
I will do you one better. I have a trio for Christian, and it's the Nashville Predators trio of Luke Evangelista, Tommy Novak, and who's the guy I always forget? The Italian Phil Tomasino. There it
Right.
is. There it is. There's the trio. I feel like Christian would have went with the trio for some reason.
But I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard a single word about that trio this season.
They've been so quiet all year, but you know
I know.
what? If they pop off, we'll always go back. Like anytime I hear any of the three names, I'm always gonna think of Christian now because of that. You know what I mean?
Isn't Tommy Novak getting dropped this season or something like that?
He
Isn't like
might.
yeah. Isn't he the Bruins?
One of them's like not doing too hot. I forget if it's Thomas. I think Thomasino's actually having a good year, maybe Evangelista too, but one of them isn't.
Right, something like that. I
Yeah,
don't know. I haven't kept up with Nashville.
yeah.
But that ends Duo 2023. I think that, you know, all excellent answers, but the next one I have is goal of the year. What
Do you
was
want me to
your
take?
goal of the year in 2023?
All right. So I don't know which I feel like you might have one of I have three answers actually. But
Okay.
I'm only gonna pick one. I'm gonna pick the most I think personally the most impressive of the three is the goalie goal. So we had I think two of them over the past like fiscal year. We had Linus Ullmark last season and Tristan Jari this current season that we're in.
Right.
I think both of them deserve to be on the list just because of how rare we see a goalie goal and what like it goes unrecognized how um how hard getting a goalie goal is. Like, dude, you have to fling up like slingshot a puck 200 feet in the air. It has to clear everybody. Like, what's that? 10 skaters in front of you. And you have to make it hit uh, a very like small net. Like it's like a smaller target. The amount of like training and like for everything to go right, when it actually goes in, it's a work of art. It's something to behold. Just with all like the permutations going against that, I think like that is the most fascinating goal in hockey.
What was your second one?
Okay, I do have the Michigan. So like the rise, not even like the rise of the Michigan, but like we had two of them in the past like week. And I think we're only gonna get more over the next couple of years. So that would be Trevor Zegras and Connor Bedard. I wouldn't be able to tell you which one of the two I like more because both of them are like ridiculous as well. Um, I'm gonna take Zegras's over Bedard though. I think him on the like he was like on the wasn't on the rush, but he was like moving around the net when he picked up the puck and flung it into the net. Like that's ridiculous.
He's the guy I credit the rise of the Michigan too, if that makes sense.
Dude, in maybe like 20 years, maybe we don't call it the Michigan anymore. Maybe we call it the Zegras. Like you know how Peter Forsberg has his own
Yes.
move,
Shootout move?
right?
Yeah.
That shootout move. I think maybe we just start calling it the Zegras because that's what number that's his second Michigan goal, I think.
That's like his fifth. Second maybe in 2023,
Yeah, maybe
which is
actually.
which is
Maybe you're
crazy
right.
to think about.
That's
Yeah.
that like yeah. Just what a deadly tool that guy has.
It's so niche, but, it definitely gets cameras on him, which is great. Okay. The reason I asked about your second is because I knew right away when you had the goalie goal, we would not have the same. I have
Okay.
specific goals. So I have three answers. Um, the first one, Logan Cooley, the spinorama in Australia against LA.
That was very nice.
It was a
Thank
preseason
God,
game.
dude, the fact that was only in a preseason game and that was like the first one too, ridiculous.
It would have been his first goal of the year. Sorry, like if it would have been his first goal of the year if it was like a
Would
regular
that
season
not
game
have been his
or of
first
his
goal
goals.
of his career?
Yeah, sorry, of his career.
Oh
Like
man. Fuck.
instead it was just a preseason goal, which you know, a goal's a yeah. You know what? I'm
Goal's
gonna
a
not
goal,
really talk. A goal's a goal, but it's on
yeah, I
camera,
know what you
and you're
mean.
gonna see, and the NHL's gonna use it every single chance they get for branding,
Oh, 100%.
for better or for worse. I mean, it's a gorgeous goal. The second answer I have is Bedard World Juniors against Slovakia. You know the one I'm talking about, the one where he cuts in forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, roofs it.
That's the OT winner, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then he did the heartbreaker as well,
Heartbreaker
did he
right
not?
after.
Oh,
Yes.
so that's so tough.
I think that was on our TVs for like at least 5 months after.
Yeah, 100%.
Literally on every single highlight package.
You turn on like the year-end review now on like TSN or Sports. Now you probably see that goal.
Over and over and
Oh yeah.
over again. And I have one more. I think you'll be a fan of this one. John Tavares against the Tampa Bay
Dude,
Lightning.
that was actually my third. I didn't I wanted to save it because I have that moment for another category coming up. So
Okay. And I think I know which category, and I think Christian would have the same answer as that one, given the fact that, well, how many times did you see that goal played once it happened? And it's
oh the Tavares
like
goal?
like they actually highlight
Dude, the whole play, including the commentary, is ingrained on my TikTok feed. I can't, I
still.
literally, yeah,
Oh my
to this
god.
day, I will every, let's say, okay, maybe it's not as often as like when, like the first week, you know what I mean? But I would say even like during the dog days of summer, I was getting like 4 or 5 videos at a time of like just the goal, the Chris Cuthbert, the Leafs have finally captured lightning in a bottle. Like,
Is
dude,
that the quote?
yeah, dude, everything about
That's
that play
excellent.
just gives me chills. It gives me chills.
And I found it kind of funny how I don't know if you remember the play, but well, of course you remember the play, but he's at the blue line, passes off to Riley, Riley cycles it, denies, and then Tavares gets it, shoots it right in front, beats Vasilevsky.
Takes
Touches the puck,
I think it took like two deflections, or like it went off of at least one set of skates, maybe like two.
something like that. But it touched the captain, it touched the longest tenured player, and it touched well at the time he was the newest guy added to the team.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I thought that was
You're
pretty.
saying it went through like the generations of Leaf players right there. I like
Well,
that.
yeah, captain, oldest, and youngest, touched
Yeah.
everybody, and then went in. I think that's pretty cliche, but it was a pretty good storyline to see. Okay, that was the goal of the year um, for 2023. Let's go biggest surprise of 2023.
My biggest surprise of 2023, I have to say, is this Canucks run right now. So
That's a good one.
Brian can attest, like I don't know if it's just like out of pure like jealousy or like spite or something, but I was just never that like I always heard the hype about the Canucks and I was never sold on it.
Yeah,
And
you
I
were
think
never a Besser guy. You're never a Pedersen guy.
but I think I was right. I was rightly criticizing that team for for its moments. Like
You were
they
right
did
up
it.
until the point where you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
But
100%. And I will be the first one to admit that I was wrong. Even this year, at the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, their first game, they beat the Oilers. They beat the brakes off them 9-1 or 9-2 if you remember, right? And everybody's like, "Oh, are the Canucks like legit?" And then it was like one game turned into a week of games. Like what's that? 3 games. And then that turned into like, a month of games. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm convinced. The Leafs even beat them in this time, like during that time, one of their first losses of the season. And I was still finding myself like, I don't know, maybe I am actually changing. Like they look ridiculously good. I don't know if they are going to finish this. Right now, I think they are first or second in the league. I don't know if they're going to get the President's Trophy. There's still a lot of games left regardless of them even just making the playoffs after what happened last season for them, I think that's got to be the biggest surprise. Shout out to Elias Pettersson, shout out to JT Miller, shout out to Quinn Hughes, shout out to Thatcher Demko. Those four alone have stepped it up. Oh, and actually, sorry, I forgot to say it, Brock Besser as well.
one
Those
more,
five,
Philip Roenick.
Philip Roenick has seemingly made all the difference in Vancouver. That team is fantastic, and shout out to them for making me back up on my oldest hottest take probably.
Before we jump off Vancouver, I just want to ask: are they the real deal? Yes or no? Just one word answer. And are you a Pedersen fan now?
Are they the real deal? I'm gonna say no right now,
Okay,
but that's not to say my opinion can't change within the next 12 months.
okay. And are you sold on Pedersen? Yes or no? One word answer.
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
He is very good. I still put Matthews over him. Don't get me wrong. It's my boy. I love Austin,
I think
but
that's a fair. That's a fair
Elias
statement.
Elias Pettersson is a freak. That guy is so good.
Okay, my biggest surprise of 2023 was Dubisgate.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't. Okay, I didn't know that it would be that big of a deal where it would take the spot of CP24, our local news network. Like the idea of I think it was Shanahan went on and did his presser on CB24.
I think he
I
did.
mean, like that is ridiculous to me. And even with the whole idea of a guy asking for presidency without asking for presidency, then he had presidency demands, including getting the private jet, a president's salary, and then obviously getting terminated, even after he quote unquote completed the goal of getting out
Yeah,
of the first round,
100%.
then saying, I'm not gonna find another job. I'm not gonna I don't know if there's a quote where he's like, I'm not looking, I just want to take time to be with family,
Yeah.
which was a
It was
complete lie.
It was his like indecision. That's what cost him the job. I think all the demands were like I think they were gonna go with like all the demands. They were like willing to do that. It was just the fact that he was like being very very indecisive on if he really wanted to come back. He's like, I don't know what my future is. Um but I just want to take some time to reassess my options. And the upper brass at MLSE heard that and were like, all right, send this guy as like to the other side of the planet at this point, right? But
But then what happened a week later?
dude, he was talking to another team. He found a new job within I think it was, yeah, within a week.
which is unbelievable and broke the hearts of many fans, I'm assuming. Which kinda also was the perfect way to tip off the era or say bye to the era because there's just so much back and forth without really any progression, and then at the end of the day, the era just like, it was good, but,
It
it could have
wasn't
been
good
great.
enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, fair.
And that was a big surprise to me because, like, I thought that he was gonna be with you guys for years upon years upon years. I didn't think that's gonna be a question the dude was gonna resign to Toronto, and I also think that that's would have been Christian's answer for the biggest surprise of 2023.
You might
If
be
not,
right.
and I think that that was a thing that shook the league for a while. Anyway, now do business president. Quickly, what was your biggest disappointment of 2023?
It has to be. And I called this from day one. I will always go back on this is has to be one of my proudest takes. Jonathan Huberdeau and the Calgary Flames
So good.
are a
Like, their
mess
take
right
was good,
now.
not him.
Yeah, but he's the opposite. I didn't expect it to go this bad this fast. Like I always saw Matthew Tkachuk as being like the 40 goal, 100-point type of player, maybe a 95-point type of player, and I always saw Jonathan Huberdeau as being a 25 goal, 75-point type of player, which is great. Maybe a little bit rich for a 10.5 million contract,
But he's a
10.5
name.
million dollar contract. Yeah, but he is nowhere near that even. He has 4 goals, 10 I think it's 4 goals, 14 points on the year so far. That's under a half point a game. Currently on pace for like 45 points right now. Making $10.5 million, dude. Maybe worst contract in the league on potentially the most depressing team in the league. Like I think Calgary is probably taking that spot. There's a couple bright spots on the Flames, but I think as a whole, that whole team is full with it's chock full of NHL caliber players. There's no debate about that. But the whole mix together just isn't mixing. It's like a sour cake, basically, right? Um, Listen, there's 3 defensemen on that team right now. I would take in a heartbeat. There's forwards on that team like Nazem Kadri. I would love back on the Leafs immediately. But just for some reason, the whole mix there, it can't get going. Everybody thought it was it was a Daryl Sutter problem, but they look even more lifeless right now under Ryan Huska, I think, honestly. So
So, Dave, let me ask, what's the bigger disappointment? Huberto or the Flames?
I think it has to be Huberto because if he wasn't such a disappointment, the Flames wouldn't be as much of a disappointment. If you get Huberto at 100%, like how he was in his later years, and not even his last year in Florida, he put up 100 something points, 100 like 15 points.
Yeah, he had
You don't
MVP
even
considerations.
you don't even need that type of player, dude. You need 85 to 90 point Jonathan Huberto, and this team doesn't look as bad as everybody like as they look right now. You know what I mean? So he is a byproduct of the Flames sucking. So it's him.
Okay.
He's the biggest disappointment.
No, I think that's an excellent answer. And honestly, I didn't even think of that one, but that's probably better than my answer. We'll get into my answer just after a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back from our break. I have my answer for the biggest disappointment of 2023. It's a little bit personal, but I think that's fair. I have the Washington Capitals missing out on both the playoffs and the draft lottery. I know it
You guys
sucks.
did get a
Not.
you guys got a nice compensation though in your with your draft pick though, I have to
Oh,
say.
Ryan Leonard's amazing. I don't know if you've watched him in for the States right now in the World Juniors. He's
I
tearing it up.
haven't I haven't been able to watch any of the juniors just because of work, but
Tune in. Honestly,
yeah,
tune in. It's always a good tournament. It's great to see the prospects play. Uh, I mean, you guys even have guys too in Mitten and
Cowan.
I think
Yeah.
Cowan. Yeah, I kind of get Cowan's in Team Canada. Well,
Uh
Mitten's actually first line center of Team Canada. I don't know if you knew that, but
Yeah, yeah, dude. I know from what I've kind of seen around like Team Canada, like Twitter and stuff. Not a lot of people are fans of the team. And I think it has to do with the fact that we have that they have a Toronto Maple Leaf at first line center. I think a lot of people aren't
I
really
think
big
first
fans of that.
I think first and second line center, but
Yeah. And anytime they don't perform as well as people think they should, it just turns into like hellfire on like Twitter and that type and like spaces like that. So I
yeah,
don't know.
you're probably not wrong about that. I will say that Team USA. Well, I don't know. Now we're getting off topic, but Team USA, like this team is special. Like it's so good.
There's like you guys have probably the next I
They're
think
probably
that
the best forward group of all time in the World Juniors on paper, at least.
and you
But
guys probably have this like one of the best probably going forward for at least the next like two years, 3 years probably.
yes, I'll just list out the top, the top three line centers. It's Cutter Gauthier, Frank Nazir, and Will Smith. One, two, three. Not a bad shout for
Crazy.
your center depth in a youth tournament. Anyway, yeah, going back to the biggest disappointment 2023, I was really upset that the Capitals didn't make the playoffs. Like devastated. And I think that a lot of Penguins fans were also devastated that they didn't make the playoffs. This is the first time in what seems like forever. I don't have the exact number that, these two legacy organizations that have been dominating the league for so long both missed.
It's been at least like 20 years almost. It has to be. Probably not since like Ovi and Crosby were drafted, I would
The, la-
imagine.
the last time the Capitals missed the playoffs was 2014, the year that we drafted Jake Frana. Um, and I don't remember the last time the Penguins missed the playoffs
And I don't
besides
think I
last
don't
year.
think before this year, I don't think Crosby ever missed the playoffs. So
Really?
there goes your yeah, so it's got to be at least like almost 20 years.
You know what? I'll pull it up because that would actually be interesting. The last time the Penguins missed was, yeah,
It
they
was like
haven't missed.
2004, 2005. And that's even before that probably like
2006,
2000
2007 was the last time.
they missed. Yeah. There you
Because
go. I think that's
that is
Crosby's rookie
crazy.
season. Maybe he has missed once and it was his rookie season.
Yes. Wow. That's
Crazy.
unbelievable if you think about it. Yeah. And I know that's not really the biggest disappointment of 2023, but it was definitely a surprise to see some new faces in the playoffs and to be missing out on, these classic faces that should be in the playoffs typically. Well, we'll see this year. Capitals, I think we'll get in. I don't know
It
about the
looks
Penguins.
I think you guys are on a good roll to get in. The Penguins are, they might have to squeak in basically by the skin of their teeth.
Well, all that matters is that you need to get in. I also kind of had Florida, not really disappointment, but I was disappointed that they lost in the finals.
Oh,
I
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
them to
You
win.
wanted them to
Yeah,
win? Okay,
yeah.
fair. Okay. I did.
Christian,
I
what
wasn't. I was definitely not disappointed with that.
what do you think Christian would say is the biggest disappointment of 2023?
Uh, well, the Leafs losing to Florida. That's got to be up there.
I think that he
Um,
would say that it was the way that you lost was a
yeah,
huge disappointment because you kind of just felt like you had all this lightning in a bottle or like something. You had something, and then all of a sudden,
it like literally turned
gone.
into like dust. Yeah.
You know when you have helium in like a balloon,
Hmm.
and then you open the balloon or pop it, and then all the helium just
Pops out. Yeah.
yeah, that's
No,
exactly what happened.
that bubble got bursted within a week.
Legitimately, like the
Yeah.
series lasted what 4 to 5. You didn't get swept.
It
I think
was
it was
five
5 games.
games. Five
Yeah,
games. Yeah. Oof. Oof.
yeah.
Big
That's
oof.
probably Christian's answer. Looking back at it
For
now.
even if it isn't, that should be the answer. Because goddamn, that was such
Okay,
an embarrassing end.
the
But
last, the last surprise. One surprise I have for you. It's I added last minute, but
okay.
what was the series of the year in 2023?
Oh, oh, the series of the year. So we're talking. I'm taking that as strictly playoff series. Um, so we had some really entertaining ones, and like it obviously the Leafs have to be up there just for the whole. the whole circus around the team and that type of stuff, that and the way that they won, that they beat the Lightning has to be up there. But you know what? I think I'm gonna go off the board. I'm gonna pick the the Boston Florida series.
See, I had the same answer as
Just
me.
just because like there was definitely not nearly as much talk about it as compared to, like, I know we talked about it, but I feel like there wasn't as much fanfare besides Boston fans, as compared to, like, let's say like the Leafs, going through the first round. But what the Florida Panthers did is nothing short of remarkable. Coming back from being 3-1 down. I believe it was also like multiple comebacks throughout this, like those wins as well, including in game 7. And then in game 7, did they not also win it in OT as well?
Yes, it
Like
was Carter Higgs ripping it
ridiculous. Like and to do that on the
in the Garden.
by statistics, like the best regular season NHL team of all time. Like crazy. So
I just remember
yeah,
the aftermath.
shout out to Florida, man.
I just remember the aftermath. I remember we hopped on right away to talk about it. It's like it takes a lot for us to trust me. It takes a lot for you to get Christian and David on board just to hop on right after something and just talk
Yeah,
about it. But
100%.
when that happened, I remember I was like, guys, hop on right now. They did. We chatted about it, and all of us were in awe. All of us felt bad in some ways. Well, except for Dave. Christian and I felt a little bit bad for the Bruins, but
No.
that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And
No.
the
They made
only
me
thing I
cry
remember,
once before. I don't feel bad for them.
the only thing that I remember specifically was so they did their lap. The Bruins lost. They did a lap around the ice. Marchand just goes up to Bergeron. The last two guys get off the ice and they just hug.
Yeah.
I think
And
that
that was Patrice Bergeron's last ever game in the National Hockey. Like that was his last ever game of professional hockey. Not even like in the league, like of professional hockey. And
which
he
was a
had to.
and David Krejci's.
And Dave Krejci's, yeah, that's right. So
Absolute surprise for me. I did not expect them both to retire in that way. And I'll tell you what, they probably both could be playing right now. It would make sense. They both probably definitely still have the skill to play. I guess, you know, if you can't win in that situation with a team like that, well, I guess it's just time to hang it up
yeah.
and call it a quits. Or, you can just see them get signed one day before the playoffs start on a 1x1, just a chance to get their name on the cup once again. We'll see.
If any team's gonna be like any team were to do that, it's definitely the Bruins.
And I'll tell you what, Bergeron wouldn't be a bad name to have on the team regardless.
Hmm.
2023, excellent year. I think that is probably personally one of the best years for me. We had a pretty good year ourselves with the
We
website,
did.
with
Mhm.
everything. Okay, goals for 2024 for us specifically. You don't need to get into numbers, but what goals do we have going forward?
What did we lay out? We wanted to be more active on um our other, like all of our platforms, basically. Like we kind of find ourselves only going through one platform kind of at a time. But if we're
Right.
able to be
You need to learn how to
cohesive,
juggle.
yeah, if we're able to be cohesive on all platforms, that's a step in the right direction. What else did we say, Bry?
I think we also just need to just keep being more consistent.
Hmm.
Get That's the main thing for us,
Yeah,
consistency. And once we get that, we should be hitting our stride. Dave, 2024 is an interesting year for you. You'll be going
it
to
will be.
well, you and Christian will actually be going to school again. You excited
Together.
at all?
Dude,
Together, yeah.
I get to spend the next year basically beside Christian the whole time. Like that's gonna be a good time for sure. We'll definitely have a lot more creative time on our hands now at school, just being around, even just being around people who enjoy sports like as much as the three of us. I think we'll be able to really let our creative juices flow even more than they have in the past over the past couple of years. And I think you know, may I think 2024 will be another stepping stone on the path to greatness.
I think that's a good way to put it, and I think you summed it up well. All right, let's end it there. One last time for 2023. Dave, hopefully you get it uploaded before 2023 ends. But
Oh, it will be up before yeah, before we go into 2024. I no guarantees on how quick though it will be uploaded.
that's a fair take. Okay. Shout out to NHLShop.ca. Shout out to Razor, Fubo. If you want to watch Hockey Night in Canada, I think that's a great way to end it.
What
We'll end it there, and that's a wrap.
what jersey are we gonna get and wrapping up 2023?
Connor Bedard. Connor
Connor
Bedard. Want to get your
Bedard, I
Connor Bedard
like it.
jersey?
I like it.
NHLShop.ca.
Hot ticket right now.
That's a wrap for us for 2023. It's been an excellent year, but we'll see you next year.
I like it.